I am super excited to share these 3 tricks with you today. It's not just going to boost your dog's confidence, it's also going to help with a number of issues that you might. Hey, it's Adhika here with Sniffdog. If you're stuck inside and running out of things to do with your dog, or if you have a reactive or nervous dog whose confidence you're looking to boost, these 3 fun training tricks are for you.
At Sniffdog, we're here to teach you how to speak dog. If you can have a better understanding of your dog, you can have a relationship built off trust and fun. We want to come on this wonderful journey of pet ownership with you to help empower the love and connection between you and your pup.
I am super excited to share with you these 3 tricks. We are going to have fun today. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to West Coast Colby. Thank you for submitting your hilarious video. We really appreciate your support. If you want to be featured on our Sniffdog videos, make sure that you comment in the sections below to tell us what you want to learn more about. And also share, like, and tell your friends all about the videos that we're offering. Also, don't forget to download the training tip sheet. I made it for you. And stay to the end. As always, we have bloopers. During these strange times where most of us are stuck inside more than usual, the same goes for our dogs. They are bound to be boreder than usual, but also in our presence a bit more than we are used to. With that comes some frustration behaviors, some attention-seeking behaviors, and to tire your dog's brain out and to use this big old muscle of theirs, it's a wonderful idea to increase the number of skills and tricks that your dog knows. Training tricks is not just a party trick for you to show your friends. Also can be super cute, but it's actually really good to develop self-confidence in your dog. If you happen to have a nervous, timid, or reactive dog, the more confidence we can give them, the better to help them with their other issues. So training tricks is not just for fun. It has many side effects. Working on increasing the tricks that your dog knows is also so good for your relationship. Oftentimes when we interact with our dogs, it's to correct behavior we don't like or ask them to do things that they don't want to do. Introducing tricks to the mix teaches them that we can be fun to engage with, that we ask them to do things that they like to do, not just things that they don't like to do. So this is a huge game changer if you're looking to develop a better relationship with your dog. Lastly, tricks are also great replacement behaviors. And what that means is if your dog is on a walk practicing a bunch of things you don't like pulling heavily, lunging at things, fixating on things to bark at, rehearsing prey drive, you can ask them to do a whole bunch of tricks and fun things to keep their focus and engagement on you on walks instead of on things you're not in control of. So the more tricks that your dog knows, the more that you can replace problematic behaviors that happen elsewhere. Okay, let's get started on today's video. What you're going to need is a narrow training alley, something like a coffee table and a couch or a table and chairs. You're also going to need some high value treats for luring. Tip number 1 is to train your dog to back up. Now, back up is a cute trick that you can train your dog, but it's also usable to you. Let's say if you're in a vet clinic and your dog needs to back up on the table, or if they're at a grooming salon and they need to back up on that table. Back up is also handy if they're in your way when you're on a walk or in a doorway and you need them to move. Backing up is also really good to build hind end awareness. Now, you have a fumbly puppy that's a large breed dog or a small breed dog that doesn't like to move around too much or bounce on and off of things. Teaching them hind end awareness is a very good skill. It's also great for back end muscle development. So not only is back up cute and usable in real life, it also has some good physiological reasons as to why you want to train it. To train back up, you're going to need what we call a training alley, which is a tight space to get them to physically back up when we ask them to. You're also going to need a handful of high value treats to use as a food lure. When we first start training this skill, we do not use a verbal cue until we are 100% sure that their body will actually back up. What we don't want to do is say back up 100 times over without them actually doing it because they don't know the skill yet. We want to save the verbal cue for when we know they will be able to do the behavior. When you're using a lure for this skill, it's very important you have a handful or one big treat hidden under your thumb. You're going to stick that treat straight to their nose with the treat accessible only under your thumb and let them lick at it. This is a really weird visual. When you have some attention to your hand, you're gonna push their nose slightly backwards and lean over your dog. When you lean and push very gently with that food lure that they're licking at, they're very likely to rock their body back and take a half or a full step back. When they take that half or full step back, you're gonna say the magic word that we use in training, yes, to mark the behavior they did that we liked, and then you're gonna release that lure to them. The way that you feed them them will make or break sort of the training process that you are in. So when you feed them back at the beginning of the training alley where you started, not where you finished. You want to make sure to stay at that step for about 5 to 10 repetitions where you're simply sticking the treat to their nose, leaning over them at the same time as luring, and then yes, and feeding them at the beginning of the alley just for rocking 1 foot back. Once they're really good at rocking 1 foot back, you can start on rep 10 to push for 2 feet back. Once they're really good at pushing 2 feet back multiple times, you can start to push for 3 feet back. Some dogs will progress really quickly at this and others will get very agitated by the game
and think, what the hell are you trying to get me to do?
If they give up really easily, make sure that the lure in your hand is big or something really delicious that they can't say no to. Let's say you've been practicing back up maybe 20 times. They're doing a really good job at it. They're able to do 3 feet fully backwards now. That's when you want to start to add the verbal cue, when you are 100% sure they will in fact back up when you ask them to. In order to add the verbal cue, the important thing is that you say the cue first, back up, and then present the lure and then do what you were doing before, which is the lean and lure backwards. Yes, and then feed as you have been. When you're adding the verbal cue, you want to make sure there's 1 to 2 seconds between the verbal cue, back up, and the presentation of the food lure, which will eventually turn into a hand signal. You are ready to add a hand signal and get rid of that lure once your dog is very reliably responding to the cue with a small lure in your hand. The way that you do that is you say back up, you present the hand looking the exact same as it did when there was a lure in it, and you give the cue. When your hand reaches the nose, you're gonna push back slightly without any food in the hand. Your dog will do what they have been doing. Yes, and feed them with a treat from your pocket once they've done the desired behavior. Now that your dog is successfully backing up, congratulations, it's super cute. You can start to ask for further and further steps back before yes and feeding. You can also begin to make this hand signal smaller by just gently nudging the dog versus holding your hand at their nose the entire way. You can also start to stand still yourself and see if just leaning will get them to offer that back up instead of you always walking towards them to induce the backing up. The last way to make it hard is to make that training alley get wider and wider as you train so that they don't become dependent on being in a narrow pathway in order to be able to back up on a verbal cue with a hand signal. Now remember, dogs don't generalize things very fast, which means just because you practice back up 100 times in your living room, you made sure to make all the steps really slow and progressive, you started to increase the distance between the furniture so that they're backing up because they can and want to, not because they have to in the narrow alley. It does not mean your dog's gonna be able to back up without any furniture in a totally new environment 5 days later. So make sure that you sort of diversify where you're practicing back up so they're able to understand back up means back up, move your back feet and your front feet, no matter what the circumstance is that they're in. If ever you're trying to practice back up in a new environment and your dog is failing, just go back a step to using a lure a few times over and then making the hand signal look like there's a lure in it without having food in it eventually as you progress in all of these new areas. Overall, have freaking fun with it. Back up is cute as hell. It's something to be proud of. It's not easy for a lot of dogs that lack hind end awareness, so you should be excited when they progress to having even a couple of steps backing up. Let's move to tip number 2. Train your dog to up. Now, up is getting your dog to jump with all 4 feet onto an obstacle of your choice. This sounds fun. It is fun, but it's also a lot of other things. Up is a great thing to do with nervous, shy, fearful, or even reactive dogs when you're out on a walk. Oftentimes, if your dog is one of those things, they're scanning their environment, constantly looking for things that are a danger to them or things that they're going to bark at. If you can get your dog to engage with you on the walk through all of these fun exercises, especially up, then the chance of them scanning for problems is actually reduced. Another thing that happens with up is relationship building. I see this all the time. Most dogs, when you ask them to jump up on something novel or new or strange or wobbly or a weird texture, will look at you like,
What the hell are you asking me to do this for? I can't do it. I don't know what you want, you weirdo.
and if you stand there and really encourage them with kissy noises and praise and try to bring some energy outside to this game, it's very likely that they start to think, oh,
It's actually fun to engage with you right now, even though I am a little nervous of what's going on in the environment around me.
so up can shift a dog's headspace from,
Oh shit. To, what'd you say? Okay, wait, I can't do that. Wait, yes I can. Oh my god, I want the food. Okay, I did it.
And when they do it, you get to celebrate them. So it's really huge for partnership. It's really huge for relationship building. It's great for developing your dog's confidence, because a lot of the times they're gonna look at the thing you want them to jump on and think, I can't do that. And when you show them through patience and cheering them on that they can, it feels good, and you see joy elicit from them when they're successful. One more quick tip for people that have reactive dogs or nervous dogs. If your dog's scared of walking through a certain area, getting them to focus on reliable up-ups that you always ask them to get on for really special treats through the danger zone that they're scared to walk through can totally change your dog's experience on walks. So this one is for you. For up, you're going to meet your dog inside with any small and achievable object that you can get them to put their 4 feet on. This might be a chair, couch, it might be a bed, anything that your dog is comfortable putting their feet on already. You will literally say the cue, up, and then stick a treat straight to their nose and lure them really slowly onto the obstacle. Don't get stuck tapping the item and coaxing them over and over and saying a whole bunch of things. The less you say, the more your hand is trying to lure that nose up and onto the obstacle, the more those feet will follow. So focus on their nose and their head following the food versus tapping things, trying to get their feet onto it. For up, we want it to be a choice that they make. So take your time, encourage them, continue over and over, trying to lure them with that magnet until all 4 feet get onto the obstacle, at which point you can say yes, and then feed them that treat from your hand. If your dog's really scared of this game at first, you can certainly yes and feed for 2 feet to start, and then progress towards them putting 4 feet on the item. If your dog is totally avoiding the whole obstacle, don't give up. Stand there encouraging them with lots of happy voices and kissy sounds while continuing to lure them. Remember, this is confidence building, so if they meet it willingly every time, you might not be making it hard enough for them. I almost want them to be challenged by the game, so just make sure that they're physically able to jump on it without hurting themselves, either getting on or off of it. But if they're a little bit hesitant and they keep moving around the obstacle to try to avoid getting on it, that might be a great one to sit and hang out trying to achieve for up to 5 minutes. If your dog completely walks away and doesn't want to play the game with you, you're making it too hard. So you can switch to a higher value food reward or go to an easier up to start with. Okay, up is one of my favorites because the weirder the better. Don't get too cozy doing boring old benches out on your walk. You can do fallen logs, you can do benches, rocks, bigger rocks, big stumps that your dog has to climb up and jump on. You can get them hanging out on kids' playgrounds if it's allowed and it's empty with no kids there. The weirder the object that they're on, even the more wobbly, the more confidence building and the more challenging it is. So start easy, work your way up, and start going on your walks noticing all the strange novel objects you could get your dog to up onto. Yes, and feed them every single time that they do it. It's a great challenge for them. And you might even find that your dog's walking along, maybe at the beach or in the woods or in your city walk, and they jump up without you asking onto something. It's not the worst thing in the world to happen. So if they are asking to do up-ups and they're doing it voluntarily, hell yeah, I'm gonna feed that, as long as it wasn't a picnic table someone's eating at, to tell them, hey, I really like what you just offered me. What a great alternative to pulling on the leash and looking for all these other things in the environment that are more exciting than me. So catch them getting it right when they offer it. Have fun, and don't you forget to tag us in the up challenge on Instagram, hashtag up challenge. We would love to see what you get up to with your dog. Tip number 3 is to train your dog to spin and twist. Now this one's pretty much straight fun and super easy, but totally worth it because a lot of dogs carry a lot of tension in their rib cage. They don't often bend and twist and stretch the way that we do. Especially reactive dogs, they carry a lot of tension in these places. The more we can help them alleviate stress and tension in their body, the more their behavior will be impacted by it. It's also friggin' cute. So spin and twist. You're gonna stick a treat straight to your dog's nose and start from standing. If they are sitting, you're going to get a weird butt pivot, and that's not what we want here. So you can lure them into a stand, treat under thumb, like always, lure them into a stand. And when they're standing, you are going to stand still and lure that nose into a big circle. When they follow that treat all the way around, you're going to say yes, and then feed them. Like everything else, we don't add the verbal cue cue until we're sure they will be able to do the behavior. So you want to lure it 5, 10, 15 times without saying anything other than yes and feeding them when they complete the whole circle. When you can predict that they're going to do it, you can add the verbal cue. Now, getting them to spin and twist is simply going in 2 different directions with their body. Some dogs are not ambidextrous and they only can do it in one direction. It's a great challenge for you to try getting your dog to be able to do both a spin and a twist. You are going to say spin to train them to go clockwise and twist to train them to go counterclockwise. Say the verbal cue. 2 seconds later, stick that treat lure straight to their nose and bribe them all the way into that circle. Yes, and feed. The better they get at the skill, the quicker you can get rid of that food lure and make your hand look the exact same without there being food in it. When they do the behavior, say yes and then reach for that treat and hand it to them. Now, over time for spin and twist, your hand signal can start to turn more into a point instead of a fake food lure. So you always want to make those hand signals smaller and smaller over time as they get better and better at responding to the spin or twist verbal cue. Have fun with spin and twist. It really is just a playful one to do with them, maybe when they're waiting for their food or at a stoplight, anytime just to get them to engage their brain with you. A few things to avoid with these tricks is to add the verbal cue before you know their body will actually move in the position you want it to. Another thing is to repeat the cue. Never repeat the verbal cue. You are welcome to lure, but don't repeat the verbal cue. Lastly, don't ask your dog to up on very large obstacles because it is not safe for them to do so until they are fully developed, so be careful if you're doing this with puppies. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed another fun one. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can press the notify button so you find out every week when we release a new video for you. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Comment and tell us what you want to learn more about. I'm running out of video ideas. You can always give them to me. And then lastly, don't forget to download the training tip sheet with all of today's tips to make sure that you stay on track with your fun trick training. Enjoy the bloopers. If you're trying to get a little bit number of issues that you might to step number 2. No, it's tip number 2, honey cat. Now, tip